Close your eyes now. Take a slow, deep breath in and let it out gently. Feel the weight of the day leaving your body. Feel your muscles softening, your mind quieting. Tonight, we travel to a place of extraordinary peace, a medieval monastery hidden deep in the countryside, where rain falls softly on ancient stone, and monks move through candlelit corridors in perfect, timeless silence. Let the rain be your lullaby. Let the stillness of this sacred place carry you into the deepest, most restful sleep. It is the year 1247, somewhere in the rolling hills of southern France, far from any city or town. A Cistercian monastery sits in a valley surrounded by forest. The evening rain has been falling for hours now, a gentle, steady rain that turns the world soft and gray and quiet. The kind of rain that seems to wash away not just the dust of the road, but the noise of the mind itself. You stand beneath the covered walkway of the cloister, the monastery's central courtyard stretching before you. The cloister is a square of graceful stone arches, open on one side to the garden in the center. Rain falls into that garden now, pattering on the leaves of medicinal herbs, on the petals of late roses, on the surface of a small stone fountain that stands at the garden's heart. The sound is gentle and rhythmic, like 1,000 tiny fingers tapping softly on a drum, like the earth itself breathing. The air is cool and clean, washed by the rain, carrying
the scent of wet stone, damp earth, and the faint fragrance of lavender and rosemary from the herb garden. These are the smells of peace, of simplicity, of a life lived close to the earth. You breathe them in deeply, feeling your lungs expand, feeling your whole body relax into this moment. The cloister walkway is paved with smooth, worn flagstones, polished by centuries of sandaled feet. Monks have walked this path for generations, round and round, in prayer and meditation. Their footsteps have worn shallow grooves in the stone, a testament to the power of patience and repetition. You begin to walk slowly along this path, letting your own footsteps fall into the ancient rhythm. The light is fading now. The gray sky deepens toward dusk, and the first candles are being lit inside the monastery. Through the windows of the church, you can see their warm glow, amber and gold against the gray stone. Someone has placed a candle in a window near the cloister, and its light flickers gently in the damp air, casting dancing shadows on the walls. The rain continues to fall, steady and unhurried. It has a quality of infinite patience, this rain. It does not rush. It does not stop. It simply falls, moment after moment, drop after drop, a meditation in water. You let the sound of it fill your consciousness, pushing out all other thoughts.
There is nothing to worry about here, nothing to plan for, nothing to fix. There is only the rain, the stone, the candlelight, and the deep,
abiding peace of this place. You pass by the door to the scriptorium, where during the day the monks sit at their desks, carefully copying manuscripts by hand. The room is empty now, but the smell of ink and parchment lingers. On one desk, a manuscript lies open, its pages covered in beautiful calligraphy, the initial letters decorated with gold leaf and tiny paintings of birds and flowers. The monks who created these pages understood that beauty is a form of prayer, that careful, attentive work is its own kind of worship. The door to the church stands open, and you step inside. The space is vast and cool and dim. The ceiling soars high above you, supported by great stone pillars that rise like ancient trees reaching for the sky. The windows are tall and narrow, filled with simple glass that lets in the gray light of the evening. There is no color here, no ornament, just stone and light and space. And yet, it is one of the most beautiful rooms you have ever entered. A few candles burn on the altar, their flames steady in the still air. The smell of beeswax and old incense fills the space. Somewhere in the shadows, a monk kneels in silent prayer, his head bowed, his hands folded. He does not look up as you enter. He is absorbed in his conversation with the infinite, a conversation that requires no words. You sit down in one of the wooden choir stalls that line the walls. The wood is dark and smooth, with age carved with simple geometric patterns. It is surprisingly comfortable, as if shaped over centuries to fit the human body perfectly. You rest your back against the wood and feel it support you, solid and trustworthy. The choir stall becomes your nest, your shelter, your safe place for the night. The rain outside intensifies slightly, and you can hear it drumming on the church roof high above you. The sound is magnified by the vast stone space, turned into something almost musical. It is like an orchestra tuning up, each drop of rain a different note, all of them coming together in a symphony of gentle sound. The rhythm is complex and yet deeply soothing. Your mind tries to follow individual drops, individual patterns, but soon gives up and simply lets the whole wash of sound flow over you like a warm bath. Outside, the rain falls on the monastery's tile roof with a deep, resonant sound. It falls on the garden, on the stone paths, on the fields beyond the walls. It falls on the forest that surrounds the valley, on countless leaves and branches, creating a vast whispering chorus that fills the night. The whole world is being washed clean, refreshed, renewed, and you, sitting in this ancient church, are being washed clean too. All the tension, all the worry, all the mental clutter of everyday life is being rinsed away, carried off by the rain, dissolved into the great flowing cycle of water and earth. The monk who is praying rises silently and moves to a small door at the side of the church. He opens it, and for a moment you catch a glimpse of a narrow stone staircase spiraling upward into darkness. Then the door closes softly behind him, and you are alone in the church. But you do not feel alone. The presence of centuries of prayer fills this space like a fragrance that never fades. Thousands of monks have prayed here, chanted here, wept here, found peace here. Their devotion has soaked into the very stones. You can feel it in the quality of the silence, which is not empty but full, full of accumulated stillness, full of the patience of generations,
full of the deep conviction that there is something beyond the visible world, something worth reaching for, something that reaches back. You close your eyes and listen. The rain, the silence, your own breathing. These three sounds blend together into a single, seamless experience. You cannot tell where one ends and another begins. The boundaries between you and the world around you are softening, dissolving. You are becoming part of this place, part of the rain, part of the stone, part of the long, unbroken chain of seekers who have found rest within these walls. Time passes. You do not know how much. It could be minutes. It could be hours. In this place, time moves differently. It does not march forward in a straight line, but pools and eddies like water in a stream. Sometimes it rushes. Sometimes it stands perfectly still. Right now, it is standing still. And
you are standing still with it, suspended in a moment of perfect peace. A bell rings somewhere in the monastery. It is a deep, resonant sound, a single note that hangs in the air for a long time before fading. It is the call to Compline, the last prayer service of the day. The monks will gather soon to chant their final prayers before the great silence begins, the hours of deep quiet that last from Compline until morning. You hear their footsteps approaching, soft and unhurried. They enter the church one by one, taking their places in the choir stalls. There are perhaps 20 of them, men of various ages, all wearing the same simple white robes. They move with a quiet grace that comes from years of practice, years of paying attention to how they walk, how they sit, how they breathe. Everything they do is a form of meditation. The chanting begins. It is plain chant, Gregorian chant, a single melodic line sung in unison by all the monks together. The melody is ancient and simple, moving by steps rather than leaps, rising and falling like gentle hills. The words are Latin, and though you may not understand them, their meaning reaches you through the music itself. They speak of rest, of trust, of placing yourself in the hands of something greater than yourself. They speak of the night as a time of restoration, of the darkness as a womb that holds you safely until the light returns. The sound of 20 voices singing in unison fills the church like water fills a vessel. It reaches every corner, every niche, every crack in the ancient stone. It resonates in your chest, in your bones. You can feel the vibrations of the chant moving through your body, loosening knots of tension you did not even know you carried. The music is a massage for the soul, working on levels too deep for conscious awareness. The chanting continues for perhaps 20 minutes, though it feels both longer and shorter than that. Sometimes the melody rises, and you feel your spirit lifted with it. Sometimes it descends, and you feel yourself sinking deeper into relaxation, deeper into peace. The monks breathe together, phrase by phrase, their collective breath like the breathing of a single, vast organism. You find your own breathing falling into their rhythm, your lungs expanding and contracting in time with theirs. And then, gradually, the chanting fades. The last note hangs in the air like a leaf falling from a tree, turning slowly, catching the light, finally coming to rest on the ground. The silence that follows is not an absence of sound, but a presence of peace. It is the great silence, and it falls over the monastery like a soft blanket, covering everything, protecting everything.
The monks rise and file out of the church, each one pausing to bow before the altar, before disappearing into the corridor beyond. Their footsteps grow fainter and fainter, like stones dropped into deep water, until even the memory of sound has faded. You are alone again, but the peace they have created remains, thick and warm and tangible. You remain in your choir stall, wrapped in silence and candlelight. The rain continues outside, gentler now, a soft whisper against the windows. The candles on the altar have burned lower, their flames barely moving in the still air. The shadows have deepened, making the church feel even more intimate, even more protective. It is as if the building itself is curling around you, sheltering you from the world outside. Your eyes are heavy now. Your body is completely relaxed, supported by the ancient wood of the choir stall, surrounded by the ancient stone of the church. Your mind has grown quiet, emptied of its usual chatter by the rain and the chanting and the deep, encompassing silence. You are in that delicious space between waking and sleeping, where thoughts drift like clouds, forming and dissolving without effort. You think of the monks in their cells, lying down on their simple beds, pulling their rough woolen blankets over their shoulders. They are falling asleep now, one by one, their minds at peace, their bodies tired from honest labor. They will sleep deeply and dreamlessly, as they do every night, trusting in the rhythm of their life, the cycle of prayer and work and rest that has sustained their community for generations. The rain on the roof is your companion now. It has settled into a steady, gentle rhythm, like a heartbeat, like a mother's hand patting a child's back. Each drop is a tiny gift of comfort, a small assurance that the world is as it should be. Rain falls, plants grow, rivers flow to the sea, the earth turns, and in a monastery in southern France, a traveler sleeps in the choir stall of an ancient church, held by stone and silence and the memory of song. You let yourself sink deeper. The choir stall holds you. The church holds you. The monastery holds you. The valley holds you. The earth holds you. You are held at every level, from the most intimate to the most vast. There is nothing you need to do, nowhere you need to be, no one you need to become. You are simply here, simply breathing, simply being. And that is enough. That has always been enough. The last candle on the altar flickers and goes out. The church is now lit only by the faintest glow from the windows, where the rain-washed sky holds a trace of light that will not fully disappear until deep in the night. It is enough to see by, barely. The great pillars of the church are now dark shapes against a slightly less dark background. The ceiling has vanished into blackness. The whole vast space has become abstract, reduced to its essentials: sound and darkness and the feeling of stone. This is what the monks sought when they built this place. Not decoration, not display, but a space where the mind could be freed from distraction and turned toward the essential, toward the breath, toward the heartbeat, toward the quiet center that exists in every human being, waiting
Be discovered. You have found that center tonight. You are resting in it now. It is your true home, more real than any house, more lasting than any building, more solid than any stone. The night deepens. The rain continues. tireless and patient. In the herb garden, the rosemary and lavender drink in the water, their roots reaching deep into the soil. In the forest, owls begin their nightly hunt, gliding silently between the trees. In the stream that runs through the valley, trout rest in the pools behind rocks, their silver sides gleaming faintly in the dark water. The whole natural world is settling into its nighttime rhythm, and you are part of it. Your breathing has become very slow and deep. Each inhale fills your lungs completely, expanding your chest and belly. Each exhale releases everything, all tension, all thought, all effort. You are breathing with the earth now, with the trees, with the rain. Your individual breath has merged with the great breath of the world, and you are no longer separate from it. You are not a person sitting in a church. You are the church itself. You are the rain falling on the roof. You are the candle smoke rising in the darkness. You are the silence that holds everything. In the scriptorium, the manuscripts rest on their desks, their beautiful pages closed for the night. The words written on those pages have been read and reread for centuries. They speak of love, of faith, of the journey of the soul through darkness toward light. But tonight, no reading is necessary. The lesson is being taught by the rain, by the silence, by the darkness itself, and you are learning it perfectly, effortlessly, in your sleep. The monastery at night is a living thing, even in its stillness. The stones breathe with the changes in temperature, expanding slightly in the warmth of the day, contracting in the cool of the night. The mortar between them shifts and settles. The wooden beams of the roof creak softly as they adjust. These are the sounds of a building that is alive, that is aging gracefully, that is doing its job of sheltering and protecting. You are one of many who have slept within these walls. Pilgrims on their way to distant shrines, travelers caught by storms, scholars seeking access to the monastery's library, kings and nobles seeking counsel from the abbot, peasants seeking sanctuary from the wars that periodically swept across the land. All of them found what you are finding now, a place of safety, a place of peace, a place where the ordinary rules of the world are suspended and something deeper takes their place. The rain changes slightly, becoming even softer, even more gentle. It is barely more than a mist now, a fine veil of water that drifts through the air like a breath. The sound has changed too, from a steady drumming to a faint hiss, like the sound of a distant waterfall or the rustle of silk. It is the most soothing sound in the world, and it wraps around you like a cocoon, sealing you in warmth and comfort. Hours pass in this cocoon of sound and silence. The stars turn overhead, hidden by the clouds, but present nonetheless. The moon rises somewhere behind the rain, casting no visible light, but adding a faint luminosity to the sky. The darkest part of the night comes and goes, that hour between midnight and 1, when the world seems to hold its breath, when time itself seems to pause and consider whether to continue. At 2 in the morning, the monastery bell rings again. This is the call to vigils, the night office, the prayer service that the monks rise from their beds to attend in the deepest hours of darkness. You hear them stirring, hear their soft footsteps in the corridor. They enter the church and take their places in the choir stalls around you. They do not seem surprised to find you here. Perhaps this has happened before. Perhaps they are used to finding travelers asleep in their church. The chanting begins again, even quieter than before. In the deep of the night, the monks' voices have a quality of profound intimacy, as if they are whispering directly to the divine. The melody is simpler now, more austere, stripped down to its essence. It rises and falls like breathing, like the tide, like the slow pulse of the earth. It is the oldest music in the world, or rather, it is the world's own music, translated into human voices. You do not fully wake for this. You hear the chanting. It enters your dreams and becomes part of them, woven into the fabric of your sleep, like threads of gold in a tapestry. You dream of stone corridors lit by candles. You dream of rain falling on a garden. You dream of a great library filled with handwritten books. You dream of peace. The chanting ends. The monks return to their cells. The silence resumes, even deeper now, enriched by the music that has just filled it. You sink back down into the depths of sleep, cradled by the choir stall, held by the church, watched over by the rain. The hours between vigils and dawn are the deepest, most restorative hours of sleep. The body does its repair work during these hours, mending damaged cells, strengthening the immune system, consolidating memories. The brain processes the experiences of the day, sorting them, filing them, discarding what is unnecessary. It is a time of profound housekeeping, of deep internal order being maintained. You trust your body to do this work without supervision. You trust your mind to sort through its contents without your conscious involvement. You trust the night to hold you safely until the morning comes. This trust is not naive. It is earned. It is the trust of someone who has learned that the world, for all its difficulties, is fundamentally supportive of life. The rain feeds the crops. The sun warms the earth. The seasons turn. Babies are born. People love each other. These are the basic facts of existence, and they are good. The rain has almost stopped now. The last drops fall intermittently, like the final notes of a symphony, scattered and soft, and somehow perfect in their randomness. The clouds are beginning to thin, and here and there a star appears, sharp and bright in the washed clean sky. The air is fresh and new, as if the world has just been created, as if everything is beginning for the first time. Dawn is still an hour away, but the sky is beginning to lighten almost imperceptibly. The blackness is becoming gray, the gray is becoming pale, and somewhere in the east the first hint of color is appearing. It is not yet pink, not yet gold. It is simply a lightening, a promise, a suggestion that light is on its way. In the monastery garden, a bird begins to sing. It is a blackbird, one of the earliest singers, and its song is pure and clear and joyful. It fills the dawn air like the first sentence of a story, like the first brushstroke on a canvas. Other birds join in, one by one, until the whole garden is alive with song. This is the dawn chorus, nature's own morning prayer, and it is as ancient and as sacred as anything the monks will chant today. The monastery bell rings for the last time tonight. This is lauds, the morning praise, and the monks gather once more in the church. Their faces are peaceful, rested, ready for a
new day. They have slept and woken and prayed and slept again, following the rhythm that has sustained their community for hundreds of years. It is a good rhythm, a human rhythm, a rhythm that honors both the need for work and the need for rest. The chanting is brighter now, more confident. It greets the new day with gratitude and hope. The melody rises, and outside the sky responds, growing lighter and warmer. The first rays of sunlight break through the thinning clouds and enter the church through the tall windows, casting long beams of gold across the stone floor. Dust motes dance in these beams of light, tiny worlds spinning in the warmth. You feel the light on your face, gentle and warm. It does not startle you awake. It invites you, gradually, back toward consciousness. You have slept deeply and well, held by the monastery, accompanied by the rain, serenaded by the chanting of monks. You have been restored, renewed, returned to yourself. But there is no rush to wake. The monks will chant for a while longer. The sun will climb higher. The day will unfold at its own pace. For now, you can remain in this delicious state of half sleep, half waking, floating in the warmth of the choir stall, listening to the last echoes of the chanting fade into the morning air. The rain has stopped completely now. The garden is glistening with water drops that catch the early light and turn it into diamonds. The herb garden is impossibly green, as if the rain has concentrated all the color in the world into this one small patch of earth. A bee emerges from somewhere and begins its first flight of the day, moving from flower to flower with purposeful grace. This is the world you will return to when you wake, a world washed clean by rain, a world full of birdsong and sunlight, a world where monks chant and bees gather honey, and manuscripts are copied by hand with infinite care. It is a good world, an ancient world, a world that has been turning for billions of years and will continue turning for billions more. And you are part of it. You belong to it. You are home. But for now, sleep. Sleep a little longer. The monastery will hold you. The silence will protect you. The memory of rain and chanting will keep you company. And when you are ready, when your body has done all its repair work and your mind has finished its sorting, you will wake naturally, gently, peacefully. Good night, dear traveler. May your sleep be deep and dreamless. May you wake refreshed and renewed. May you carry with you into the waking world some small portion of the peace you found here tonight, in this monastery, in this rain, in this deep, abiding silence. Sleep well. The monks pray for you. The rain blesses you. The ancient stones hold you safe. And the morning, when it comes, will be beautiful. Good night. The silence after the morning chanting settles over the church like a soft, warm
blanket. But let us not leave this place just yet. Let us linger here, in the hours before full waking, and explore more of this extraordinary monastery. There are rooms you have not yet seen, gardens you have not yet walked through, stories these stones have not yet told. The monastery kitchen is a large, vaulted room at the back of the complex. Even at this early hour, the first fires are being lit. A brother assigned to cooking duty moves quietly between the great stone hearth and the heavy wooden table. The fire crackles softly as it catches, and the smell of burning applewood fills the room with a sweet, warm fragrance. On the table, loaves of bread are rising beneath linen cloths, their yeasty scent mingling with the wood smoke. The kitchen is the monastery's heart, the place where physical nourishment is prepared with the same care and attention that spiritual nourishment receives in the church. The pantry beyond the kitchen is cool and dark, its stone walls keeping the temperature steady throughout the year. Shelves line the walls, holding jars of preserved fruit, wheels of cheese, crocks of honey, bundles of dried herbs. Everything here has been grown or made by the monks themselves, from the gardens and orchards and beehives that surround the monastery. There is something deeply satisfying about this self-sufficiency, this connection between the food on the table and the soil it grew from. It is a reminder that we are creatures of the earth, dependent on its generosity, linked to its rhythms. Through
a narrow doorway you find the chapter house, where the monks gather each morning to listen to a reading from the Rule of St. Benedict, the document that governs their daily life. The room is circular, with a domed ceiling that amplifies even the softest voice. Stone benches line the walls, worn smooth by generations of seated monks. The acoustic here is remarkable. A whisper carries from one side of the room to the other with perfect clarity. It is as if the room itself is listening, gathering the words and holding them, letting them resonate and deepen. The rule that is read here each morning speaks of balance, of the proper proportion between prayer and work, between community and solitude, between speech and silence. It was written 1,500 years ago, and yet its wisdom feels startlingly modern. We all struggle with balance. We all seek the right proportion between activity and rest, between engagement and withdrawal, between giving and receiving. The monks have been working on this problem for centuries, and their solution is beautifully simple. Structure your days around what matters most. Let everything else fall away. Beyond the chapter house, a door opens onto the monastery's working garden. This is larger than the ornamental garden in the cloister, a full acre of carefully tended beds, planted with vegetables, grains, and fruit trees. Even in the gray morning light, with rain still dripping from the leaves, the garden is beautiful. The rows are perfectly straight, the soil dark and rich, the plants healthy and strong. A few
monks are already at work, moving between the beds with hose and watering cans, their white robes tucked up to keep them from the mud. Watching them work, you are struck by the quality of their attention. They are fully present in what they are doing, focused on the plant in front of them, the soil beneath their fingers, the weight of the tool in their hands. This is what the monks call labora, work that is also prayer, activity that is also meditation. They do not rush. They do not cut corners. They treat each plant, each row, each garden bed as worthy of their full care and attention. And the garden responds to this care, producing abundantly, year after year, feeding the community that tends it. The orchard lies beyond the garden, a collection of apple, pear, and plum trees arranged in neat rows. The trees are old, their trunks thick and gnarled, their branches reaching wide. In autumn, they produce fruit in such quantity that the monks must work for weeks to harvest and preserve it all. But now, in the softness of the morning, they are simply beautiful, their leaves still heavy with raindrops that flash in the growing light. You walk among the trees, feeling the wet grass beneath your feet, smelling the clean, rain-washed air. A spider has built its web between two branches, and the rain has decorated it with tiny jewels of water that catch the light and sparkle. The web is a masterpiece of engineering, its geometric pattern both beautiful and functional. The spider sits at its center, patient and still, waiting for the day's first catch. There is a lesson here about patience, about trust, about the art of waiting. The spider does not worry about whether insects will come. It simply builds its web, takes its position, and waits. It trusts the process. It trusts the world. The monastery's library is housed in a long, narrow room above the scriptorium. The ceiling is low, the windows small, designed to let in light while keeping out the weather. Shelves line the walls from floor to ceiling, packed with books and manuscripts. Some are hundreds of years old, their leather bindings cracked and faded, their pages yellowed but still legible. Others are newer, copied by the current generation of scribes, their ink still black and sharp, their illuminations still vivid with color. This library is one of the treasures of the medieval world. It contains works of theology and philosophy, of history and science, of poetry and medicine. Some of these texts exist nowhere else. They have survived the fall of empires, the ravages of war, the slow decay of time, preserved by the patient labor of monks who copied them by hand, generation after generation. In copying these texts, the monks did more than preserve knowledge. They maintained the thread of civilization itself, keeping alive the accumulated wisdom of the ancient world through centuries of chaos and upheaval. You pull a book from the shelf at random. It is a work of natural philosophy, written by a scholar who lived and worked in this very monastery 300 years ago. He describes the plants and animals of the surrounding countryside with careful, loving detail, the way the seasons change the color of the forest, the habits of the deer that come to drink at the stream, the flight patterns of the birds that nest in the orchard. His observations are precise and scientific, yet they are also infused with a sense of wonder, a deep appreciation for the beauty and complexity of the natural world. Reading his words, you feel a connection that spans centuries. This man lived in a world without electricity, without automobiles, without any of the technologies that define modern life. And yet his experience of nature was essentially the same as yours. He saw the same stars. He heard the same birdsong. He felt the same rain on his face. The fundamental human experience has not changed. We are still creatures of the earth, still moved by beauty, still comforted by warmth and shelter, still in need of rest. You replace the book on the shelf and move to the window. From here you can see the whole valley spread out below you. The forest stretches to the horizon in every direction, a vast green sea, broken only by the silver thread of the stream and the gray ribbon of the road that leads to the nearest town. The morning mist is still rising from the trees, giving the landscape a dreamlike quality, as if the boundary between the waking world and the world of sleep has not yet been fully drawn. The dormitory is on the top floor of the monastery, a long, low room with small windows set high in the walls. The monks' beds are simple wooden frames with straw mattresses, each one covered with a single woolen blanket. There are no personal possessions here, no photographs, no books, no mementos. Each bed is identical to every other, a statement of equality and simplicity. The monks own nothing. They need nothing. They have chosen to strip their lives down to the essentials, and in doing so, they have found a freedom that those burdened with possessions can only imagine. You lie down on one of the empty beds. The mattress is firm but not uncomfortable. The blanket is rough but warm. The pillow is a simple roll of cloth. And yet, as you settle into this austere bed, you feel a comfort that goes beyond physical sensation.
It is the comfort of simplicity, of having everything you need and nothing you do not. It is the comfort of being in a place where the only agenda is rest, where the only expectation is peace. The rain has resumed, lighter than before, a gentle pattering on the tiles above your head. It is the most intimate sound, this close rain, falling just a few feet above you, separated from you by nothing more than stone and tile. You can hear each individual drop landing, finding its place in the larger rhythm. It is like listening to music from very close, hearing the individual notes
that make up the melody, understanding how they fit together, how each one is necessary, how each one contributes to the whole. Your breathing slows to match the rhythm of the rain. In, out, in, out. Drop, 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 drop. The two rhythms merge, become one. You are the rain. The rain is you. There is no separation between the listener and the listened. There is only the sound, the breath, the moment. The monks have a name for this kind of experience. They call it contemplation, the state of mind in which the boundaries between self and world dissolve, and you experience a direct, unmediated connection with reality. It is not thinking. It is not analyzing. It is not even feeling in the ordinary sense. It is simply being, purely and completely, without any barrier between you and the world. It is the natural state of the human mind when it is freed from distraction, and it is available to everyone, not just monks, not just saints, but everyone. You are in that state now. The rain has taken you there. The silence has held you there. The monastery has created the conditions for it. And now it is deepening into sleep, the deepest form of contemplation, the state in which the conscious mind releases its grip entirely and allows the deeper wisdom of the body and the unconscious to take over. The hours pass. The rain continues. The monastery sleeps. The forest sleeps. The deer in the meadow sleep. The fish in the stream sleep. The whole valley
is wrapped in a blanket of cloud and rain and quiet, dreaming its ancient dreams of growth and decay and renewal. In the church, the candles have long since burned out. The darkness is complete, but it is not threatening. It is the darkness of the womb, the darkness of the seed underground, the darkness of the cocoon from which the butterfly will emerge. It is creative darkness, generative darkness, the darkness from which light is born. The stones of the monastery hold the heat of the day within them, releasing it slowly through the night. They are like great storage batteries of warmth, built up over centuries of summer days, never fully depleted, always giving, always sustaining. They hold other things too, the vibrations of all the chanting that has ever taken place within these walls, the prayers of generations of monks, the tears of those who came here seeking comfort, the laughter of those who found joy in simplicity. All of it is stored in the stone, layer upon layer, a geological record of human devotion. You are adding your own layer now, your presence here tonight, your peaceful sleep, your quiet breathing, all of it is becoming part of the monastery's memory. Long after you have gone, something of you will remain here, woven into the fabric of this place, part of its story, part of its meaning. The night is at its deepest now.
The middle hours, when the body's temperature drops to its lowest point, when the brain waves slow to their most profound rhythm.
When healing and restoration are at their peak. Your body is working hard in this quiet time, repairing damaged tissues, strengthening neural connections, processing the experiences and emotions of recent days. It does this work silently, efficiently, without any input from your conscious mind. All it asks of you is that you stay asleep, that you trust the process, that you let go. And so you let go. You release the last threads of awareness, the last wisps of thought. You surrender completely to the darkness, to the silence, to the rain. You are no longer a person with a name and a history and a list of worries. You are simply a breathing body in a quiet room, part of the great sleeping world, part of the night, part of the rain. Sleep deeply now. Sleep as the monks sleep, with perfect trust. Sleep as the earth sleeps in winter, gathering strength for the spring. Sleep as the seed sleeps in the soil, dreaming of sunlight and growth. Sleep knowing that you are held, that you are safe, that you are loved. The rain will continue all through the night. It will be there when you wake, softer perhaps, gentler, but still falling, still washing the world clean, still singing its ancient lullaby. And you will wake refreshed, renewed, restored, ready for a new day, ready for whatever comes, ready to carry the peace of this monastery with you wherever you go. Good night. Good night. Good night. The rain falls. The monks sleep. The monastery stands, ancient and
in its valley of green. And you, dear traveler, sleep with them. Sleep with the rain. Sleep with the stones. Sleep with the silence.
Valerian pull you down into the deepest layers of sleep, where dreams are rare and rest is complete. The healer's workshop adjoins the garden. It is a small, warm room heated by a stove that burns day and night. The walls are lined with shelves holding jars and bottles of every size and shape. Each one is labeled in the healer's careful hand: tinctures, salves, poultices, teas, the tools of his trade, accumulated over a lifetime of study and practice. A mortar and pestle sits on the workbench, still dusted with the residue of today's preparations. The air smells of dried herbs and beeswax and the faint sweetness of honey, which the healer uses to make many of his medicines more palatable. This room is a place of healing, and you feel its effects simply by being here. The warmth of the stove relaxes your muscles. The herbal scents soothe your mind. The knowledge that remedies exist for every ailment, that nature provides everything we need to heal, gives you a sense of security and trust. The world is not hostile. It is generous. It offers us rain for our crops, wood for our fires, herbs for our medicine, and silence for our sleep. Back in the dormitory, the monks sleep on, undisturbed. Their breathing is slow and regular, a soft chorus of inhalation and exhalation that fills the room like a gentle breeze. 20 men, breathing together, sleeping together, sharing the same darkness, the same silence, the same dreams. There is something profoundly communal about this shared sleep, something
that speaks to the deepest human need for belonging, for connection, for the knowledge that we do not face the darkness alone. You are part of this community tonight, not as a monk, but as a guest, a traveler who has been welcomed into their midst and given a place to rest. This hospitality is central to the Benedictine tradition. The rule states that all guests should be received as Christ, not interrogated, not judged, simply welcomed, fed, given a bed, and allowed to rest. It is a radical form of generosity, offering everything and asking nothing in return. The valley outside the monastery is wrapped in fog now, the rain having given way to a thick gray mist that lies over the land like a fleece. The trees are invisible. The stream is invisible. Even the road has disappeared. The monastery alone remains visible, its stone walls rising above the fog like a ship on a calm sea. It is an ark, floating through time, carrying its cargo of knowledge and prayer and silence through the centuries. Inside the ark, you sleep. Sleep as deeply as you have ever slept. Sleep as the monks sleep, trusting in the morning. Sleep as the garden sleeps, gathering strength beneath the rain. Sleep as the manuscripts sleep in the library, their wisdom waiting patiently for the next reader. The fog thickens. The rain resumes, lighter than ever, barely a mist, barely a breath. It is the gentlest rain you have ever heard, so soft that you can barely tell whether it is
falling or simply hovering in the air. It is the rain at the edge of perception, the rain that exists more in feeling than sound, and it is the most soothing thing you have ever experienced. Let it carry you now. Let it carry you into the deepest sleep. Let it dissolve the last traces of wakefulness. Let it wash away everything that is not peace, everything that is not rest, everything that is not the gentle, steady rhythm of breathing in a quiet room on a rainy night in a monastery, in a valley in the countryside of southern France, in the year 1247. That is where you are. That is where you sleep. That is where you will remain.
safe and warm and held, until the morning comes and the bell rings and the chanting begins again, and the new day unfolds like a flower opening to the sun. But that is hours away yet, hours and hours of deep, dreamless sleep, hours of rain and silence, and the slow turning of the stars behind the clouds, hours of healing, hours of peace, hours of nothing at all except the simple, profound miracle of being alive and asleep and sheltered from the storm. Rest now. Rest completely. Rest as if you have never rested before and may never rest again. Give yourself to sleep as a river gives itself to the sea, without resistance, without reservation, without holding anything back. You deserve this rest. You have earned it, and the monastery has been waiting for you, preparing
this bed, lighting these candles, sending this rain, since before you were born. Good night, traveler. Good night, dreamer. Good night, seeker of peace. The monastery holds you. The rain sings to you. The silence loves you. And the morning will find you renewed, restored, reborn. Sleep well.